Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the, what's it called now? It's called the Vilic or SEQFC preview show. I'm Daryl. I've been away for a couple of weeks. Thank you for everyone who's been messaging, asking where the show is. It's good to be back with you. We've got 2 shows this week, and then over the next couple of weeks, we'll bring all the other shows on board. Up to about 6 shows a week. Crazy. Why did I agree to do this? Anyway. We've got one guest with us tonight. We've got Albany Creek's Cormac Malloy. Cormac, great to have you with us.
Pleasure to be on with you again. I was looking forward to you coming back so we can get on board. We've missed it. We've missed the show.
Good stuff. Of course, we were on last year. That was when we had Phil hosting that show. That was a very entertaining evening. So
that was.
Yeah, not sure if I'm quite as funny as Phil, but we'll see how we go anyway. All right, now let's have a look at the Brisbane Premier League ladder first up. You guys are flying at the moment. You're at the top of the table, 10 points, a game in hand over the Lakes. It's a pretty good start for you guys.
Yeah, it's been a really, really good start. One blip against St. George when 2-0 up, 3-1 up. We probably could have sorted the game out, but credit to them. I know their other results have been a bit off at times, but that night they were really good. They done really well to come back. It was like they were missing 3 or 4 players, but the St. George of old was there. They were really good and they fought hard, and they were probably value for the draw in the end. You know, really, it was a really good battle, a really good game to watch. A neutral would have loved it. But as for the other 3 games, yeah, we just started well and kind of blew teams away. Scoring loads of goals. The front 3 are amazing. The middle of the park is like the whole squad is really strong, like really, really, really strong. So yeah, look, fingers crossed we actually win it this year after the disappointment of finishing second last year. And it's kind of, I think we're kind of in the driving seat now with St. George dropping points unexpectedly, because regardless of who they've lost, they're still a really good team. Really good to watch, really good battlers.
Yes, of course, there was that infamous match against Mount Gravatt, which we limited.
We're not allowed to talk about that.
But they have fallen off a cliff. All those suspensions to all their players have really hurt them.
Yeah. So it's kind of on us now to, I suppose, not have a blip as such, you know, and kick on and really just like do what we've been doing to every team now, like coming out of the blocks firing and trying to score early goals, really putting teams away early and just being smart defensively. And apart from St. George, where we made a few errors and they punished us for them, we have done what Steve has asked us to do and what we've set up to do every Thursday, which was get out in the park early, get your authority on it, get a few early goals and be smart. So credit to the boys. Honestly, training's been outstanding. The squad is magnificent and we have played really well. Deservedly sit top, I think.
What's your opinion of Steve Glockner as a coach? We were chatting earlier this year and you didn't even know that he played for the Socceroos. He's a humble guy, isn't he?
Very humble. I love him as a coach. Obviously, I only know him. This is my second season for him. Very humble. I love how he talks to the players. I love how he talks to you individually. You can always approach him, no matter what. If you're unhappy with game time, if you're unhappy with training, he's just an all-around good bloke. And like his coach Alex, whereas 2 of them are good blokes, they work well together, because Alex can be the bad cop sometimes. But Steve is he's humble, nice. You'd never hear him even talking about himself. I had to Google him when you told me, and like he was a superb footballer with Brisbane City, everything, like, you know. So I love that about him. He doesn't really make it about himself ever. And he just keeps the focus on the players. Does a really good job of keeping people happy, because that's a big squad. It's hard to keep everyone happy, and he's doing a really good job of it. Really good.
Before we run through the other teams, with the clubs that have gone up to the FQPL2, are you finding that there's something missing from the competition this year? Is that the feeling, or it's just we'll take on all comers and we'll beat them?
Yeah, well, we when you look at our squad, you'd have to be confident of beating anyone, regardless. But it's definitely weakened the BPL a little bit, and that's no disrespect to the teams that have come up, because they're also very hard to beat. Everyone's hard to beat in the Premier League. But because of the shift and the big clubs that left, there was a bit of a weird atmosphere. But like the Lakes and Bayside and whoever else, Centenary, they're all still really tough teams to beat. I haven't come up against UQ or anyone else yet in a few seasons. And I'm sure every team will get used to the Premier League again, the newcomers, and they will set themselves up smartly not to be beaten. So people have said it's much weaker. It's not much weaker. It's just teams are finding their feet after COVID. There's now 3 divisions above us, which is taking players away again. There's something a little bit missing quality-wise, but not as much as people think. It's still a difficult enough league. Like, you look at some of the results have been crazy, and I look at the Lakes. They're scoring goals for fun. They look a really good side, you know. Bayside are a good side. St. George, Casey Ridge are clearly a good side. So there's something maybe that we're used to in a regular format missing. You're used to seeing your Grange and your Taringa and your other teams, but in essence, it's still tough, and there's not much missing. It will just take a while to get used to the fact that there's now more options for players to leave, in my opinion, you know?
Definitely. We'll probably find a few weeks in, a few clubs in, say, the FQPL struggling. We might see a few dollars coming out here and there, eh?
Yeah, absolutely. I think so. But I mean, is there much difference in the QPL 2 and BPL at the minute anyway? Not really. You know, nothing. I don't think any team in the QPL is better than Albany Creek and St. George. The QPL 2, sorry, you know? And then a lot of teams in the QPL even, are they better than Albany Creek and St. George? Both of those teams would do well. So every league is very, very competitive, and there's not much in them. But you're right, the dollars will drag the best lads away at the end of the day.
Yeah, and look, I have no doubt that there are BPL clubs that could beat possibly even, you know, teams at the lower end of the NPL ladder, certainly in the QPL. But it's just that status, and it's that maintaining that status. And if the club's got a budget to get the players in to maintain their position, then you'd expect that they'd go for the, pull out their wallet and bring the players in that you need.
Yeah, look, money talks, and I've never had an issue with that. If you want to go and play for a team for money and win things for money, that's everyone's decision. That I hate to hear people saying, "Oh, these guys bought the league and those guys bought the league." If that's what they want to do to compete and win things, that's just life. You have to find a way to beat those teams, and that's just it. Everyone deserves to earn a few dollars and win and enjoy their football. So I never had an issue with money, ever. I hate to hear people moaning about it. If you can get it, you got to take it.
Exactly. Just on that, do you get phone calls? You've been in the Brisbane competition how many years now?
Oh, Jesus. I started playing with the Gap in 2012, and I stayed with them. And then I went to Creek. But yeah, as regards to teams coming for you, yeah, ever since 2012, I've had teams calling in. But I never wanted to leave the Gap because I loved the club. All my mates were there, and I had a bit of a close relationship with the president and the secretary. And then as I got a little bit later in life, the club wasn't doing too well. I thought, fuck, I might take one of these offers. And when Creek came calling, I was like, it was a bit of a no-brainer. I want to win things at my age and all that. But I turned down some big clubs and some big coaches over the years at the Gap, like the old BPL and all that. Yeah. Because I was here having fun. I was playing for my club. I was the captain. It was easy a little bit without sounding like a dickhead. You know, easy in the lower leagues, Cap 1 and Cap 2. And yeah, it was just enjoyable with all my friends. I never thought of leaving to win things. And then when I turned 30, I was like, oh, getting a bit late in life now to try and win things. And I'm good mates with Ryan Shaughnessy, and they've won all around him, and like he's a wonderful footballer. So getting the chance to play with him as well was good. You know what I mean? It was exciting.
All right. Let's have a look at this weekend's fixtures in the Brisbane Premier League. So this weekend, we've got Centenary Storm was against Brisbane Knights, who, after their round one flogging, have managed to put a couple of results together. Western Spirit against the Lakes, the Gap against Mount Gravatt, Toowong up against Acacia Ridge, UQ against Albany Creek, and St George hosting Bayside. Out of those, the one that sticks out to me is St George and Bayside. Can St George get things back on track? There's probably one more week of suspensions for these players, isn't there? So Bayside might be playing St George under strength for one more week.
Yeah, but I mean, it's hard to know what team will show up there with St George, because the team that played against us was very good. They played really good football, really strong. And then I see the result last week and I think, whoa, like, you know, have they gotten much weaker since they played us, or did they drop a level? So I wouldn't, if I was Bayside, I wouldn't be too confident, because I think St George have a good side, but Bayside are a good side too. That'd be a good game. I'm going to go 2-2 draw.
Okay.
2-2.
I think you'll have no issues up against UFC. The other interesting one, Toowong against Acacia Ridge. Of course, Toowong losing Claude Capelli as their coach.
Yeah.
Acacia Ridge, they had a massive result in was it the FFA Cup recently? They had a win against much fancied opposition.
And they beat St George 3-0.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. Those suspensions again.
So I don't know. Yeah, I haven't seen much.
Who do you like in that one?
I think Acacia Ridge. Just going off last week's result, they must have something good going down there. You know, I don't know anything about them. I don't know who they've got or anything. But I fancy Acacia Ridge to win that one. Easy, I think.
My understanding with Acacia Ridge is that they've got a really good first team, but just lacking that depth. So once, you know, if they get a couple of injuries, then they really struggle. But their first 11 is up to the standard. Yeah,
that's good. Good. And that's what you want. Like people say, oh, you don't enjoy slapping teams. It's great on the day, but it doesn't give you anything. So it's nice to have good competitive football, because that's what we really, really want, especially as a league and as a format. You don't want the best players wanting to leave the Premier League because there's poor teams in it. So it's good that Toowong are hard to beat, and it's very good that Acacia Ridge are hard to beat Bayside in that. We need to keep that up. We need to keep the best players in the league.
Yeah, I'm pleased to see that Toowong have got off to a reasonable start after, you know, losing quite a few players and their coach. Yeah. So encouraging signs for them. Who's the one team that you're fearing this season?
Maybe the Lakes. They're a bit of the surprise package. From what I've watched on the highlights packages, they look like they all have fun. They just enjoy it. They go out and they attack for fun. So the game against them might be good, you know, great spectacle to watch, goals galore. Yeah, I'm looking forward to playing against them and seeing them. It's good to see them. And the one thing that strikes me with them, they all have a smile on their face. Every one of them, they're all happy guys. They're playing happy football. They're playing for the jersey. They're playing for the coach. They're playing for each other. They're conceding goals, but they're scoring goals. And I think they're just giving it a red hot crack, and it's good to see. It's good for the league. You know.
All right, let's turn our attention now to Capital League One, and the mighty North Pine. The Gorillas are on top of the league on 13 points over Newmarket and Annalee. Now, I was at Elder Oval for Anna's match against Carina last Friday. I got there for the second half, and Cormac, it was the funniest 20 minutes of football that I have ever seen. You could have played Benny Hill music throughout the game, and it would have been appropriate. There were moments of brilliance, definitely moments of brilliance, but there were some absolute calamities in that game as well. Players falling over. There was a couple of air shots. Balls meant to go in one direction, went in another. It was a crazy night. We'll put it down to the wet weather and the field drying out, that sort of thing. But amazing game. And Annalee getting the win 5-4 over Carina. Carina, 1 point after 4 games, and proud club. They I spoke to Liam Safe after the game, and he's not been in this situation before, so he's got to pull out all his coaching stops to get the side back on track.
Yeah, they seem to be missing Daniel Levy. Yeah, I know he got a hat-trick against them, but they miss him, and he's another wonderful footballer. I know Daniel quite well. He's a good mate. he's a great player, so he's obviously a huge loss to them. But they have some very handy players at Carina. I think they'll pull out of that. I think they'll be okay.
Having a look at this weekend's fixtures, Newmarket are taking on Annerley. So that's a second versus third. That should be a great fixture. Pine Hills taking on Moggle. Slacks Creek against New Farm. North Pine up against Ripley. Oh, another good game there. Carina up against Ipswich City. This is Carina's big chance to get something going. Logan Metro with the bye. Out of those ones, was anyone that stuck out for you? Pine Hills against Moggle should be interesting. Pine Hills off to a slow start.
Yeah, I'm surprised to see their slow start, and because they've got a great squad there as well. You know, Capital One is strong. I'd like to see Ripley Valley doing well, only because Padua there, Nick's good dude. You know, I'd like to see them doing well, and they played really well against Strikers in the FA Cup. You know, they're good to watch. They like to play it around. That'll be a good game, North Pine and Ripley Valley.
Yeah, definitely. We normally have Padua on the show, but he's training tonight, so
yeah, train on a Wednesday. You got to question that.
Training on a Wednesday, yes. Might have something to do with the Cup games. All right, let's have a look now at the Village Law Capital League 2. Only one round so far. Kangaroo Point are on top of the ladder. Let's have a look at this weekend's fixtures. We've got Oxley up against Clairvaux. Redcliffe PCYC up against Willowburn. That should be interesting. North Brisbane against Narangba. Narangba didn't get to play their first match on the weekend. Springfield United up against KPR and Barden Latrobe up against Westside. Bit of an unknown, given that we've only had one round and not all the teams got to play. Narangba and Barden didn't have their first game, but yeah, it's a bit too early to tell on these teams.
I think Clairvaux I've heard have quite a good squad. They should do well. And then there's some pretty big teams down there, like, you know, from days gone by. So that'll be a tough league to call. That'll be really hard. That's a tough one.
All right, let's move on to Capital League 3. Again, just the one round. Deception Bay. Good to have you back, Deception Bay. And Bethania didn't get to play their match, but everyone else did. Tarragindi Tigers on top of the ladder at the moment. I saw it was a Facebook post from Tarragindi last night in their cup games saying, we're 1-0 up against Capalaba. Of course, they lost 4-1, didn't they? But Teviot Towns are playing Doomba. Yes. They had a very brief moment. Bethania are hosting Brighton. Ridge Hills against Pine Rivers Athletic. Great to see Pine Rivers back. Tarragindi Tigers hosting D-Bay and Park Ridge against Logan Village Falcons. Now, the big moves in this league is Logan Village getting a new coach and some quality additions to their squad, where normally you had to live in the area to play for them. But Logan Village not seeming quite as far away as it used to be.
No, I think like we spoke of a few minutes ago, when there's dollar bills involved, nowhere's ever too far. Now, I'm not sure if that's the case down there, but that's usually the pull. But it's good to see Cap 3 teams really competitive with each other. That also helps the leagues, you know. So it's good to see. You'd think Logan will walk it a little bit with the players they have. They might ease their way up the leagues, I think.
I'll nominate Ridge Hills up against Pine Rivers Athletic as the match of the weekend. That's a local derby.
Yeah.
Should be hopefully a little bit of fire in that one. Certainly would have been if they played each other 10 years ago or 20 years ago. So we'll see if they can bring the fire back.
Yeah, they should, I think. There's a bit of you'd see a bit of chat back and forth from guys on the page, which is quite entertaining as long as it stays PG, I suppose, you know, but it's good to see. There's a bit of care. There's a good few guys at Pine Rivers who care about the club, who give a shit, you know. So it's good to see. I think they'll do well as well. It's good to see him back. Huge club back in the day.
Definitely. The Pig Pen was what their bar area used to be called.
Yeah. They're a little bit before me, but my Aussie mates, when we chat about football back in the day, they'd say, oh, you Pine Rivers were big and this and that. So it's good to see that they've made a comeback. I might pop over and watch a few games. You never know.
Very good. Cormac, we're a crew cat in the FFA Cup. You still
We
in
have,
it?
yeah, we have Gold Coast United away next Tuesday at 7:30.
Fantastic. You guys must be buzzing about that one.
Yeah, and like, no disrespect to anyone, I just think we have a wonderful team, and we can give anyone a crack. And we fancy that. We fancy having a go at them. And if you lose after having a go, well, that's fine. You deserve to lose after having a go at a better team won. So we're going to give that a red hot crack. And the winners play Olympic. So, it's added incentive. You want to be playing the big teams. You're not going to win the FFA Cup. So you want to be playing the big teams early, giving yourself a test, minutes under the belt. That's important. And we'd love a crack at Olympic. They're a wonderful team to watch. Oh, one of my favourite teams in the NPL. I love watching them. I love how they go about their business. They're a professional outfit. So they're the teams you want to play against. And everyone feels the same at Ace. We want to beat Gold Coast. We want to play Olympic. We want to beat Olympic. But firstly, we need to play Gold Coast, beat them. That should be a really tough tie. They're also a really good side, a really good coach. Great. So, yeah, look forward to getting down there next Tuesday and having a crack.
Is that a home or away?
Away down the Gold Coast, yeah.
Oh, great.
Yeah. On a
Down to
Tuesday
the
night.
prairie.
Yeah.
Cormac, in your 9 years playing in this local competition, who have been some of the players that have just really made their hairs stand on the back of your neck?
Yeah, I played with a couple of guys to Gap that were superb. Killian Flavin, who we used to be good mates, and we just drifted apart. He's joined some big clubs. He was playing Cap 2 with us, and he should never have been playing Cap 2. He was outstanding. And lucky for us and for himself, he went up the leagues. He was one of the best players I played it over here. Wonderful. Another guy called Derek Hart, Del Hart. He's still cruising around, I think, with New Farm City team, just having a bit of a run. He was a centre half, magic, just could do anything with the ball. Brilliant defender. And then players who I've played against before I joined Ace, obviously Ryan Shotnessy, magic player, just can do wonderful things with a football. And then back in the day, there was a few really good guys called, I can't remember his name. Oh,
He was that quick, was he? That quick that you couldn't remember his name.
Remember when Holland Park had a really good team under Ben? Oh, he played left side of midfielder as left full. He played pro at Sunderland. He was really good. Oh, I can't remember his name.
Dan Smith.
Dan Smith, yeah. Just watching Dan Smith for that season and a half or 2 seasons, he was caught above the rest. He was magic. And I hate to say it because he's at home now, but Ben Ryan will remember Stephen Murphy, Smurf, played up front for Bayside. He was wonderful centre forward. Always gave me a nightmare. Always scored. Cheeky as hell, but a good guy underneath it all. So those kind of guys were the guys who I remember the most being brilliant. Probably the best player would be, and I play with him now, Ryan. Like, he was just a couple of seasons ago giving us nightmares at the Gap, just scoring goals every week. But that's the level he's played at home, and he's brought that level to New South Wales and that level up to here. So, but I often think about who's the best player I've played against over here. I'd have to sit down and think and send it to you in a text, because there's been some great players over here. Great players.
It was a question without notice.
Yeah.
You up and coming up with an answer straight away. But sometimes people can nominate someone on the spot and just, yep, that was the guy. That was the guy that floored me, and I couldn't do a thing against him. Yeah.
Dan Smith was that kind of guy, and Smurf, Stephen Murphy, was another brilliant player. Couldn't get near him. Super centre forward. So yeah. What about you? Who's your favourite player you've ever seen playing in recent times, in the last 10 years?
Oh, that's an interesting one. I have to say, I think of it more as teams. I love spotting players that just, that make you go, oh, who's that guy?
Yeah.
And then they'll tell you that he's 16 and he's just been promoted and he's, playing without fear. And Seb Hernando, who was, when he was playing for Mitchelton last season, he was one of the guys that I haven't had that reaction since I saw young Michael Zulo playing for the Brisbane Strikers. Now, I'm not going to say that Seb Hernando is going to carve out the same career, but it
Yeah.
was a similar feeling. You know, you could
Yeah.
see a young guy playing without fear, taking players on. That's just what you love. It's what you
Yeah.
love.
Well, yeah, absolutely. I've lost it.
Yeah, but I always loved watching Phil Zabak's in goal. I always thought
Yeah.
he was. You just knew that it would take something special to get past him.
Yeah, very good
And
keeper.
Anthony Hall
Settings.
before him.
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, if
Yeah.
you take away, I just kind of say guys from the BPL, but I've watched a lot of MPL since it's become the new format, and like the MPL has had some magic footballers in it, like wonderful players. You could talk about some of them boys for days. You know, great to watch. That Lions team under Mooney that cleaned up, they were just magnificent to watch. You couldn't pick a fault in 1 to 14, you know. That's the kind of standard that they've set in the MPL now, and Power are trying to get there in Olympic. It's good to see. And I know this isn't the MPL show, but the best players went straight to that level. And I remember watching it thinking, wow, that's brilliant to see.
Are there any young guys coming through at Albany Creek that you think they might have something there?
Yeah, there's one guy, and I think he's only 18 or 19, called Isaac Considine. And he's probably, I'll better tell him I mentioned this because he's a quiet kid. He'll probably be a bit red-faced, but he's going to be a special player. He's a wonderful player. He plays with fire in his belly. He's like a 26-year-old already. Just see him in training. He's unbelievable. Gets the ball down, gets his head up, playing it around, sprinting around the place. Very smart footballer. You would never think he's 18 or 19. No way. Big, strong, can shoot, can pass. He's going to be, if Ace can keep him, because I think he's destined for better things. But if Ace can keep him, he's going to be the man. They're going to build a team around him. He's unbelievable.
The video went a little bit funny as saying his name. Who is it again?
Sorry, Isaac Considine.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
So his phone's going to be running hot tomorrow.
Oh, I hope not. Steve will kill me. No. Oh, it's good. Good chat.
Excellent. All right. Thank you very much for your time today, Cormac, and good luck for the rest of the season. We'll hopefully get you on the show again sometime during the season.
Yeah, anytime, mate. It was a pleasure as always.
And best of luck against Gold Coast United next week. And, of course, this weekend as you take on SEQFC.
Brilliant. Thanks a million, mate. See you soon. Mind yourself.
Thank you, Cormac. That is the Village Law SEQFC preview show. Thanks for tuning in. We're back. We'll see you next week.